Fire Call, the fire safety show with Division Chief Jim Sideras.
Hi, my name is Division Chief Jim Sideras, and you are watching Fire Call from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it is cold and wintry. What we're going to show you is we're going to take you behind the scenes of Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, take you along with us on a two-alarm structure fire. We're going to train with some of the firefighters as they're doing ice rescue training, and we're going to talk about how we get around in the wintertime. Now, if you have a question, you just email it to me. It's really simple. And we try and get to your questions. It's almost taken us a year to get to some people's questions because we're getting so darn many of them. So sit back, relax. Going to do a quick shout out here to some of the departments that have been watching us, and then we'll get on the show. This first shout out is going to Schaumburg Fire Department in Schaumburg, Pennsylvania, Fire Station 4, and this is from Lisa. She wants a shout out to her boyfriend. What a lucky guy. And because of the shout out, you're going to get a Sioux Falls Fire Rescue t-shirt. You get these if we answer your question or we use your shout out. And we also got a shout out got a couple shout outs. So cold my fingers won't even work. We got a shout out from Benjamin. He wants a shout out to the Minneoka Fire Department in Minneoka, Minnesota. And that one's going out. It's probably just about as cold there it is here. And our last shout out, beginning of the show, is going to be to Station 106 in LA County, California. Hey, we got to be doing kind of like a trade-off once in a while. You guys need to come here, get some winter training, and we need to go there and get some nice summertime training. Hey, sit back, take a load off, hang out with the crews of Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, and watch the show.
So we were basically on the south side of the building, Delta Division. We had heavy fire coming out of main floor and second floor windows on the Charlie Delta corner, and we had a house on the Delta side that was a definite exposure. It was 2.5.
Means it's really close. We don't want the fire to spread to it.
Oh yeah, there was the side of the house was beginning to steam from the heat coming out, from the flames coming out the window. So it would have been on fire had we not put water on it. So that was really one of the main things we could do. Right now, the house that was involved in the main body of fire is a complete loss, and we have saved the buildings around it. Is really all we could do.
When we look at a building like this, probably built in 1930s, we talk about balloon construction. What's that actually mean? Because we know that if we have a home with balloon construction, a fire in the basement is going to be up in the attic before we know it.
What happened here, the call came in, smoke coming from the attic, and so the first arriving company showed up and gave a report on the radio. He had heavy fire coming from the attic. Very typical of balloon construction.
What is balloon construction?
The wall cavities go all the way from the basement, and fire can travel up those exterior wall cavities, and that's what it does. It acts as a chimney.
Sure, so once it gets up there, you're behind the power curve of getting this fire under control.
Yeah, from the time the first driving company got here to when we got here, it was a total loss. They entered the house. I talked to them. They entered the house. They went in about 5 feet in the front door, and the heat was too much. They had to back out.
Great. Well, Al, I know you got a meeting to go to, so thanks for your help. Talking to you again later. I'm with Brian Mielke. Brian Mielke is a really seasoned captain. Got some questions for you, Brian. Now, you got here, and you said you tried to go in. When you try to enter these house fires, when you got a fully involved house like this, tell us what it's like.
The visibility was absolutely zero. We had heavy smoke just as soon as we went in the porch. Got approximately 3 to 4 feet inside the house and encountered very intense heat.
So that just pretty much just walking into an oven?
Crawled into an oven. We were on the floor as low as we could get, and it was still too hot to go any further than that.
Now you're talking about you're crawling. Now, and we tell our viewers, if you're ever in a fire, you want to crawl under smoke, crawl under heat. Tell us, why do firefighters do that?
Same reason. The heat, the most intense heat is towards the ceiling. The least intense heat will be towards the floor. We try to use that to our advantage, so we go in low.
And then the other thing is, if there's ever a hole in the floor, you're not going to walk right into that hole.
That was a concern right away when we came on the scene. We knew that there was fire in the basement, so one of our main concerns is that we might not have any floor once we get into the house.
And when you get zero visibility, it's pretty tough to tell.
The only way to tell is by feel.
So then you had to pull your people out, and then we just turned this into a defensive operation. We tried a couple other things. We tried to attack it from a few other directions, still had no luck. Turned it into a defensive attack. Sure, when the fire gets too far ahead of you, it's pretty tough to fight it.
It sure is.
Well, thanks a lot, Brian.
You betcha.
I'm talking to Corky Miles. Corky Miles is the Division Chief of Operations as he was running this fire. And Corky, got quite a few questions for you. This turned into a second alarm fire. What constitutes a second alarm fire, and why did you call a second alarm fire?
Basically what it was is a need for resources. We had a very intense fire going inside the structure. We had fire inside the attic, inside the lower level of the basement. We had houses on either side that were very close in proximity. Wanted to make sure that it didn't get away from us and all of a sudden have exposures on fire as well. You bring in the extra manpower, you assign the tasks necessary, and of course the second alarm gave me the resources that I could assign additional tasks and keep it from spreading.
Now you got more people here and you got quite a few resources, and we heard you call a PAR, and we talked last month to Jim Jarding about a PAR. What are some of the concerns you have in a fire of this magnitude when you got this going on with this many people and it's wintertime when you call your PARs?
From a command aspect, anytime I have crews operating on scene, I need to know where everybody is and I need to know that everybody's safe. Every 20 minutes we're doing our PARs, making sure...
First, not to interrupt you, what is a PAR again, for people that might not know what a PAR is?
A PAR is a personal accountability report. This one, not only was I doing my timely PARs as we normally do, we had a wall collapse on the south side. Anytime that happens, anytime there's an event like that, we immediately call for a PAR and we account for all personnel and make sure nobody was injured in there, nobody unaccounted for.
Now it's just about freezing here. What are some of the other things that we have to think about when we have these kind of fires from a command aspect?
Sure. Besides the fire hazard that we have in the house, we have a slip hazard, if you will, because of
really?
the icy conditions. We called for a sand truck to bring in some sand, and this particular one, I also have a collapse hazard that we're conscious about. We put tape around. We brought in Red Cross for refreshments. I've got to rehab the fire crews. Obviously, it's very hot and intense when you're in there, but you come out here and it's cold and the elements wear on crews. So I've got to have enough crews to rotate. I rotate through them, rehab, and I'll let them get some rest and refreshments and then get them back into action again.
So it's a real coordinated effort to keep all these balls up in the air and keep everybody safe at the same time.
Definitely, it's a coordinated effort. Safety officer just went past us. That's another example of something we do to keep firefighters safe. Command is responsible for safety unless, as all of us are, unless we have somebody specifically assigned. Today I assigned a safety officer. He kept an eye on things and make recommendations in an effort to keep firefighters safe.
Well, Corky, you're in a good fire.
So thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'm with Jason Skeeball. Jason Skeeball was assigned the role of safety officer. Critical role in a large fire. You always want to be thinking safety, especially in the weather climates that we have here in Sioux Falls today. Now, Jason, looking back behind us, kind of an interesting fire. What are some of your thoughts and some of the concerns you have when you're assigned that role of safety officer?
Well, in this particular fire, we were already operating in a defensive operation. So I was...
we pulled all the people out because we knew we couldn't attack this head on.
Yep, I wasn't too worried about people being inside during the collapse, but I was on the seaside, the back side of the structure. When I heard this terrible crash, I thought two things. Either the house collapsed or truck 3 came down on top of it. Right away I was getting word that the wall had bulged out and pushed out. Command immediately took a PAR, a personal accountability record, and found that everyone was okay. So we took some safety tape here, kind of roped off the area.
Pulled out people from that collapse zone?
Yep.
And you ever see anything like this before?
No, not on a single family dwelling. I've seen it more in commercial fires where the roof will come in.
Sure.
But not on a single family dwelling this early in the fire.
So when we had this building come in, we didn't have anybody operating inside, but what were some other concerns? This whole building looks like it's been kind of wobbly, just turn, shift, and just collapsed down on itself.
Right. There's a concern now that on the opposite side of this collapse, the wall is bulged out a little bit. You see how the floor is in there. There's a floor on the other side that's pushing that wall out, and it's moved out about 6 inches. So we've taped that area off. Even though it hasn't collapsed, it may. It kind of looks like it's gonna if it could get any worse.
So we could have literally had fire from the basement burning through the main floor and
Yep.
then up through the second floor
Yep.
floor and just...
This is typical balloon frame construction. I was on the first truck here. My crew was assigned to knock out a few windows and to establish a RIT team. We could see active fire down in the corner in the basement. We took out the windows in
So you had fire in the basement, fire in the attic.
and then everywhere in between eventually.
Sure. Well, great. Well, thanks, JC. You did a nice
Thank you.
job. I'm with Captain Sean Doyle. Sean is one of our USAR captains, and these are the people that we put into the toughest situations to save people. And it is a little cool out today, Sean. Tell us, what are you and the team's doing out today?
We came out today, a nice day to come out actually, to do a little ice rescue training.
So, to do ice rescue training, this would simulate basically someone falling through the ice, and then you're called in to go get them.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then what's the process here as far as, tell us about the suits that they're wearing and some of the other issues that we have to worry about when we're on the ice.
Okay, we have ice rescue suits we put in. They're insulated a little bit, keep us warm for a
Provide
limited
some
amount of
buoyancy?
time. Yeah, provide buoyancy. And basically, if somebody's through the ice, they'll go out, and with the suits on, we're always tethered, so we can get pulled back.
Okay.
Or we can pull our own rescuer back out if we have to. We basically go out and we hook in, wrap a rope around them, and secure the victim.
Okay.
And then the onshore team, once we give the signal to go,
What's the signal?
we'll tap on the head,
Okay.
and they'll basically pull us, both us, the rescuer and the victim, out of the ice.
Now there's two ways to do this. One's using the sled, and the other's without using the sled,
Yep.
obviously. What's the advantage of using the sled?
Sled's a little bit easier on the victim and the rescuer.
Okay.
When they pull on the ice and your side is against the ice or your back, it can hurt. So
Okay.
basically the sled is just, it's a little easier
Okay.
on the body.
Okay.
Basically. So
Now, what are some of the concerns we have to be thinking about when we're working on ice that someone's already fallen through?
hypothermia is probably
Okay.
the biggest one, and being in the water, it doesn't take very long. Maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes even. That person, they'll lose strength. They'll start. One of the symptoms is they can't think clearly. They can't grasp anything. So today we're kind of practicing a go rescue where we actually send a rescuer on the ice and into the water.
Because we
to
talked
get
in
them.
previous episodes, the last thing we want to do is go, but this one, there's no way that person can rescue themselves because of the cold water, essentially.
Probably not. It
Okay.
won't take long. A couple minutes in that cold water, they're not going to be able to grasp on anything, so we can't really do a reach rescue
Okay.
very often on an ice rescue.
Okay, now we're going to do this vector cinch, it looks like they're going to do. Tell us, how does this work?
Basically, we throw two lines, one on each side of the victim,
Okay.
and then we take a carabiner on
Big
each end.
steel clip, essentially.
Yep, big steel ring, and then as we pull each rope, that'll cinch up around the victim, and then we can lift them out.
So essentially, you're not going to get in the water with this one. We're going to do a vector cinch.
Yep, this would be a rescue where it's not an actual go rescue.
Okay.
Kind of a shore-based rescue, which
Sure.
is safer.
So as they pull it, the victim just raises up their hands, and then we just basically put a cinch right under their arms.
Yeah,
essentially, around
hopefully
the
we
chest,
can get it under their arms.
and then we can just yank them
We
out.
can cinch them and just kind of lift them, help them out of that water onto the ice.
And this is nice when we have to keep worry about our people breaking through if we don't have enough equipment.
That's correct. And then once we get them out of the water, that's where the EMS will kick in.
Sure.
We'll try to get them in a warm environment and start warming them up.
And then when we look at some of these kind of issues, because we're surrounded by water, we have rivers all around Sioux Falls. What some advice that you would give someone that's like a hunter or fisherman that's out on the ice? What
Okay.
kind of things would you be thinking of?
I think the most dangerous time would be late fall, early spring. The thaw is real dangerous. The ice might look safe, but with the snow on top, and you never know. Ice, when it freezes, it's uneven. It's not always 8 inches thick
Sure.
or 12 inches thick. It could be an inch thick in some spots.
Okay.
And like this with the snow on there now, a lot of those weak points are hidden.
And when it starts, when you break through the ice, there's that's
Yeah,
not only on
it's-
TV. You're in the water,
Yep, you're in the water.
underwater at first.
And it's a big shock.
Yep.
That's a big part of it. And then the panic too.
Okay. Got a great question here for Sean. Comes from Bill. Bill lives in Sioux Falls. Bill wants to know, when your car, if we're to go into the river, so now you're driven in the river by accident, the bridge collapses or whatever, what's the best way and what should you do right away to be able to get out of your car?
The first thing you'd want to do right away is roll your window down, and that will equalize the pressure, so when the car does go underwater, you'll be able to open that door and get out.
The water's going to come in,
yep.
But that's the only way you're going to be able to open up that door.
Yeah, because if you keep the windows rolled up, you're going to have a pressure and you won't get that door open.
Sure.
And it's tough to break the safety glass on a car.
Again, it's not like it's on TV where people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff. This is hit your seatbelt, roll down the window.
Yep. I think I'd roll down the window and then worry about the seatbelt and then try to get out from there. So.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
I'm with Reid Strum. Reid Strum's on USAR 4. These are the people that are going to go out and get you out of a car or the hole when your car goes in the water or you end up in the water. Reid, now you've been training all day. Tell us, what's it like to be working these suits?
Well, these suits help keep you warm in the water because that water obviously is ice cold, because it's frozen over. So these suits protect you, keep you warm. You get in the water, you squeeze the air out of it so you can maneuver around your victim and get a hold of him and stay in control.
How's your dexterity for tying knots with the big gloves?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, these kind of suits, one fits all. So you got to just, practice with it, tying with your gloves, and just get used to it.
And that's why this is so important, is to get that practice time and get that water time.
Yep.
Now, what advice would you have for our viewers? We got viewers from around the world, Reid. They're all looking at you for one valuable, good piece of advice. What would you tell them about, being out in the wilderness, being out on the ice like this?
Okay, my one piece of advice would be stay off the ice.
There you go. It's quick to get into trouble. It's tough getting out of trouble.
Definitely, yeah.
Great. Thanks a lot, Reid.
Yep, thanks, Chris.
This great question comes from Sioux Falls. It comes from Matt. Matt lives in Sioux Falls where it's winter. And Matt wrote this question back in February. We couldn't get to it till now. We're just getting so many questions. We got to work through them all, so take your time. Be patient with us. What Matt wants to know is, in the wintertime, how do we get around with the snow? If we get a foot of snow, getting up and down hills, how do we do it? Do we put chains on the tires? What do we do? Well, I got Trent Bowe. Trent's one of our drivers at Station 10. How long have you been in the department?
Just under 9 years, Jim.
Okay, and you've been driving?
Almost 3 years.
And you're on USAR 10.
Rescue 10, that's where we're at.
So how do we get around in the wintertime? Now it's the roads are nice, but what do we do with these big trucks? Do you chain them up? What do you do, Trent?
We have a couple options. We actually carry some sand and some salt.
Okay.
Just on the truck itself. If we need to get some traction to get us going, we can just put sand down in the bucket. Otherwise, if we can't get it going, we have chains, automatic chains that drop down, and they'll drop down as we hit the button switch as we go. We'll just rotate and we'll just drive on the chain.
So they're automatic chains?
Automatic chains, yep.
And now I don't know if you've used them or not, but you're going to show us how to use them, right?
I'll try to show you, yes.
Okay. So essentially that's going to be where our chains are, so you can use them anytime then. If you get in a tight spot, you can drop them down,
yep.
pull them back
going up a hill, you're stuck, can't get going, got a pretty good ice shelf, you're kind of sliding around, you put those down there and it should drive and let you go right down the road there.
Now I know they're going to ask one other question. Are these on year-round?
Yep, they stay on year-round. They're in the middle, in between the dualies in the back. And then you just hit the button and it should rotate it and bring it right down in front of the back tires and let you drive on top of them.
Okay.
And then they store there when you're done.
We're ready to see it.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
All right. Thanks, Trent. I have two other questions here, and they kind of go along with the show. They're both about multiple alarm fires. Big business, big fires. The first one's from Ronald. Ronald lives in Montezuma, Georgia. And the second one is from Ryan. Ryan lives in Omaha, Nebraska. Ryan wants to know, what's a 2-alarm fire? And what does it mean when we do multiple alarms? And Ronald wants to know why we have multiple alarms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alarm fires. Well, it's really simple. Our first alarm is the crews that can generally handle a regular, what we call in the business, a regular house fire. It's going to be a couple engine companies, a ladder, battalion chief, and they can pretty much run the show. When the fires get larger, we need more resources, we'll call a multiple alarm, we'll call a second alarm, which means a couple more engine companies, get another ladder truck in. We'll even bring our truck that fills up tanks, air tanks, so that we have that. We'll also start going down a list of things. Hey, in the wintertime, we need to keep these firefighters warm if they're not going to be outside for a couple hours. We'll bring in a bus to heat them up. As alarm progresses and gets bigger, we need more resources. Third alarms. Third alarms are going to start bringing in more chief officers to run the show. We're also going to look at bringing other resources in for multiple alarm fires. Now it varies. What Omaha might do to what Silver Springs might do could vary on your alarms, on your number of trucks you have, and the resources. But what it means is, when you get multiple alarms, fires or the incident is getting bigger. It's not just fires. We can call multiple alarms if we have a major incident involving a lot of patients. We might have a large accident on the interstate system, and we need the resources that multiple alarms can pull in for us. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. You're going to get more people, more resources, and our chief officers, the guys driving the battalion cars, they're on this stuff and they know just what they're going to have, and they can make those calls on the fly, and that's what makes the job really a lot easier, is allocation of resources. Well, there's some great questions. You get a great question, you get a great t-shirt. So that we're going to send out these t-shirts, and we'll send these out too if you have some shout outs. Hey, we're wrapping up the show. We got a couple of shout outs. This first shout out is to Michael. Michael wants a shout out to the Spring Creek Volunteer Fire Department, Spring Creek, Georgia. Yeah, we're going to send you a shirt. And we also have a shout out to the Belmont Junior Fire Brigade in Australia, of all places. Man, you guys in Australia, you need to come and visit us once in a while. I hope you had a good time. Again, keep those letters coming, and we really like to get to those. And we hope that you're going to think about a career in the fire service, especially you guys in those fire brigades, those youth fire brigades, be thinking about Sioux Falls. My name is Division Chief Jim Sideras, and you've been watching Fire Call.